Raiders fans, welcome back to another brand new episode of the J All Day NFL Show. Raiders fans, you've showed me a ton of love this offseason. I really appreciate you guys. In today's episode, we're going to do another full 7-round mock draft for your Las Vegas Raiders. We are less than 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, 1 week from this upcoming Thursday. I'm really excited about it, and I think this Raiders team has a serious chance to make some noise in the AFC West. Let's get into it. Raiders fans, we are only 65 subscribers away from 15,000, so if you could do me a huge favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me, and guess what, guys? We're kicking off round one with the trade, right? We're trading back to number 10 with the Bears. And then we're getting a second round pick, 41 overall, and swapping that with 143 overall. So we're moving back 4 spots and giving up 143 to get a second round pick, 41st overall. I love doing that. When I make this trade, it's all about value, right? And I want to get as much value as we can in every single round, right? So instead of drafting a guy like Genty at 6, where the average lifespan of a running back is 2.5 years, I don't like doing something like that. So I'm going to move back, accumulate another second round pick just by moving back 4 spots. All right, let's go. So in those 4 spots, the Bears took Tyler Warren. And then we missed out on Membu, Barron, and Mike Green. Guys, I don't know if I would have taken anyway. And this is the crazy part. So we moved back 4 spots. And then Ashton Genty is still on the board, so we accumulated another second round pick. And guess what? I'm doing it. Ashton Genty goes to the Raiders at number 10 overall, and we got another second round pick. I absolutely love it. And I didn't force that trade, guys. It was a fair trade based on PFF's algorithm, so I'm really happy with where we're at right now. Now, if we take a look at our picks, we got 37 and 41 overall now, 68 and 108 in the 4th round, a bunch of 6th-round picks, and a 7th-round pick. All right, now we're up at 37 overall. Man, Ben Morrison on the board, I really like. TJ Sanders, a guy I definitely like too. Looking over their draft needs, safety could definitely be in play. So could cornerback. So a guy like Ben Morrison might be really valuable. But you know what? The guy I love that I can't let slip out of our grasp, Raiders fans, is Jaden Higgins. He's my favorite wide receiver in this draft class. I'm just going to say it flat out. He's my favorite wide receiver. He's big, he's strong, he's physical. He's got a lot of A.J. Brown in him, 6'4", 215 pounds, only 22 years of age. And, you know, went from 750 to 980 to almost 1,200 yards this past season. And in his 3 years in college, the dude has 25 touchdowns, man. And he's just getting started. Contested catch rate around 60%. I absolutely love that. And he's great against man coverage, 87.8 grade. Only 2 drops. That's the best part. He's a big-bodied wide receiver that only has a drop rate at 2.2%. That's crazy. He was targeted 129 times and only had 2 drops. That's great. Out of his catches, 87. It's extremely impressive, man. He can break some tackles. He's got deep ball ability as well. You know, he's even run a couple screens. You know, I just love everything he was doing at Iowa State. And let's be honest, Iowa State isn't known for their quarterback play. So with a great NFL quarterback, I think the sky's the limit for Jaden Higgins. He's my second pick for the Raiders in this draft. And now only a couple spots gone. Oh, Ben Morrison went at 40. No! But okay, I think going trenches here could definitely make some sense. If we take a look at the depth chart, Raiders fans, we could definitely, you know, Christian Wilkins is coming off that injury. We don't know what he's going to look like, right? So we'll get out of nickel, go to our base defense, you know, and we could definitely use another outside linebacker and some D-line, a nose and a 3-4 DN, right? And TJ Sanders really fits that bill, in my opinion. He's a very impressive player, right? Princely Umanmielan's on the board too, a guy I definitely like. Maxwell Harrison's on the board as well, but TJ Sanders, one of my favorite players. He just came in for a top 30 visit with the Philadelphia Eagles. So this guy is, you know, definitely rising up draft boards across the league. You know, 10 sacks over his last 2 years. He's got, you know, he's more of the 3-4 kind of edge than playing a zero technique at the nose tackle spot. So he could definitely fill in, you know, one of these spots. We don't even know how Christian Wilkins is going to look coming off of that injury. So adding some depth to this room makes a ton of sense. So I'm going TJ Sanders with our second round pick. Now, up again at 68 overall. Here's how the draft went. We got Genty, even with trading back 4 spots and accumulating another second round pick that allowed us to get TJ Sanders. So 68 overall. Taking a look at who is on the board here. Tate Ratledge is a guy I really like. He's rocketing up boards. Very impressive player. Kyle Kennard, interesting edge defender. He could play in that 3-4 scheme for sure. 6'5", 254 pounds. Josiah Stewart is on the board as well from Michigan. 6'1", 245. Definitely a more athletic kind of player. Really, really solid. He's a physical guy. He's definitely a little bit smaller coming off the edge. CJ West, another player that is, rising up draft boards, looks pretty good too. And then I'm taking a just look at, we got our wide receiver. We got our running back. We got our interior defensive lineman. Cornerback could definitely be a spot that we target here at 68 overall. But value-wise, it would be a bit of a reach. We have another pick at 108, and one of these top 3 guys that are left on the board will probably still be there, in my opinion. Andrew Mukuba, the safety, very, very talented player. 6 foot, 190 pounds. And the thing that I really like about him is this coverage grade. And then coverage rate 89.7, force incompletion rate really high. Passer rating allowed only 12.1. That's 4th in the nation. I just like bringing him into this spot, man. He had a really bad game against Ohio State, but other than that, he went on quite the run against big programs like Texas A&M, Clemson, Georgia. This guy's a really talented player. And bringing in a safety at this spot definitely makes some sense to me. Let me know in the comments down below, Raiders fans, where would you go with this pick, right? We're kind of in a no man's land spot. Trapillo is on the board, a guy I really like. Wyatt Millam is a guy I like. Charles Grant is a guy I like. But they're all reaches, in my opinion, talent-wise, at this particular part in the draft. So I think I'm going to go Kyle Kennard, 80 pass rush grade. I want some help for Max Crosby, and a really good, talented pass rusher. Pretty good numbers this year, 10 sacks, 17 sacks over the last 2 years. He added another 29 hits and hurries. I'm going to go Kyle Kennard, the edge defender. Beef up that D-line for us, right? So we went 2 areas in the D-line, 2 skill position players with running back and wide receiver. Now, we're on the board 108 overall in the 4th round. I'm going to go cornerback here, 100%. Dorian Strong is still on the board from Virginia Tech. 6'1", 185. He's definitely a little bit more slender of a frame guy than a guy like Noah Williams from Cal. 6'1", 200 pounds. That's the kind of corner I want in this system. And he's a physical coverage style. He could defend the run. He could just do it all in this defense. And I like the versatility of Noah Williams more than anybody else. So I'm going to go Noah Williams at 108 overall. Now, we're drafting again with our picks in the 6th round. There are some interesting players left on the board, right? Safety, Malachi Moore, a guy I really like. And then bringing in a quarterback, right? Kyle McCord, Tyler Shough, both still on the board. We're drafting at 180 overall. One of these quarterbacks between Kyle McCord and Tyler Shough is probably where I'm going to go. I just want to bring in another quarterback in this room. I know Geno Smith signed that extension, but I want to bring someone else in. Tyler Shough's a little bit too old, but I like Kyle McCord. He's got good size, 6'3", 220 pounds. He's got a really strong arm, light on his feet, good touch passer, great competitor. He's just a smart football guy. And if you look at McCord's stats over the last few years, they're very impressive. 3,100 yards in 2023, and he almost threw for 4,800 yards this past year, 34 touchdowns. Definitely got to cut down on the interceptions a little bit. Passer rating over 101. Pretty talented guy, man. Deep yards, 2nd in the nation. Screen yards, so he could throw it all over the yard. I'm going Kyle McCord in the 6th round at 180 overall. Now, 213 overall. Here we go, guys. We are on the board at 213 overall. taking a look, Jake Majors, the center, we take a look at this roster. Jackson Powers Johnson is a decent prospect. They drafted him in the second round. I really liked him in the draft process last year. Decent first year. But we do have some, Alex Kappa, not the best player in the world. Jake Majors, maybe you kick Powers Johnson over to guard, right? You take a look at his frame. He's a pretty big guy, right? 6'3", 320. He could play guard for sure. So Jake Majors definitely interests me. Just bringing a little bit of depth. He's one of the better guys left on the board right now, in my opinion. Taking a look at the roster, we could definitely add another off-ball linebacker. A guy like Jay Higgins could make some sense. 6'2", 232, a smaller guy, but very physical. And when you're drafted in the 6th and 7th round, you take flyers on guys like that where the tape is really, really good. And he could be a special teams guy. Ricky White on the board at 233 could make some sense, just adding another wide receiver. You know what? I love Ricky White. I'm going to go Ricky White in the 6th round. Now, we're up to 15 overall. Pretty much the same board is there for us. It's between Jake Majors. I haven't done any offensive line help in this draft, so I want to bring in some offensive line help. So, interior offensive line, Jake Majors, Miles Frazier, the guard. Decent player considering we're getting him in the 6th round, right? Holland Pierce from Rutgers is a guy who really interests me. 6'8", 344 pounds. He's an absolute freaking monster of a human being. And if you could coach him up a little bit, man, he could be a force. And the offensive line for the Raiders is pretty decent, right? But just always adding to the pool makes a lot of sense for me. Jake Majors, I do really, really like. He's a solid center. What a great pass block grade. You know what? I think he's a 3-year starter at center. Pierce has played right tackle and left tackle, so I like that versatility. So I'm gonna go Pierce in round 6 right now. We're up in the 7th round. Running back, wide receiver, defensive line, edge, corner, quarterback, wide receiver again, and a tackle. I'm going to go off-ball linebacker. Jay Higgins is still on the board here. I love that spot for him. Really good player. Missed tackle rate for a linebacker under 10% is great. And he's excellent in coverage. 91.5 grade. That's really, really, really good. Super athletic guy. Played in the slot a little bit too. I love myself some Jay Higgins. Late in this draft at 222 overall, you can't really beat that kind of depth at that point in the draft. They gave us an A- overall grade. Let's clap it up, guys. We traded back, added a 2nd round pick. Incredible. So we pretty much got the same guy we wanted, and we got TJ Sanders for free. Just by giving up a late round pick. I think it was, 143 overall. Yeah. And then we got Kyle Kennard, the edge defender. Noah Williams, 6'1", 200-pound cornerback from Cal. Big physical guy. And then we got Kyle McCord, the quarterback, in round 6. Ricky White, another wide receiver to add to this room, very productive in college. Holland Pierce, 6'8", 344. They don't make people, human beings, that size every day. So in the 6th round, I like that pick, man. And then at 222 overall in the 7th round, Jay Higgins, the off-ball linebacker. We got an A- Raiders fans. Thank you so much for tuning in and all the support over this offseason. And I'm looking forward to possibly the Raiders upsetting the Chiefs and the Chiefs not winning the AFC West this year, guys. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Thanks again. Peace.